So that's a
Wow.
little of my story to start.
I love that. And Brian, I know that a lot of what do you think motivated for you to say this that very few people dare to say, I have to. I have to be successful. I have to make it. I won't quit on me. What were the fuel? What people were in your mind? Because I know a little bit about your mom and how you honored, your upbringing and everything. So what fueled you into making the decision? Because you know how they say the moment you make a decision, the universe really aligns in your favor. And the reason that it aligns in your favor is because finally you committed to you. Finally, you align to be in your favor. So that's when the universe really begins to support you. But what fueled you? What was in the heart and the mind of Brian? Why will Brian, besides himself, not give up onto himself and his future?
I love it. I love it. And I think the short response is responsibility. And responsibility goes different
Boom.
ways because responsibility first with myself. If I was gifted these talents and these blessings, my responsibility is to put them at work and be of service and be an instrument of change towards others. So that's the first thing, the responsibility. But what drove me in the beginning, because obviously in that moment, my state of mind maybe would not have understood the power of the commitment with myself and the responsibility with myself. But what moved me was my mother and my sister. And I'll share really, really quick with you what was the main reason that pushed me to keep going.
Yes, please.
I grew my mother, single mother. My father left my mother when my mother was pregnant of my sister. My sister's now 25 years old, and it's 7 years difference. So my dad left when I was 7 years old, 7.5 years old. And I felt like this responsibility to take care of my mother. My sister at that time was very young. And all the little money I saved up, I would always buy my sister's stuff. I would always buy her toys. And I would catch my mother in the restroom crying. I would catch her crying because she didn't know what to do. She was frustrated. I mean, she didn't know what to do to just be a better person or grow. And when I caught her many times in the bathroom, and she would always say, "Oh no, I have something in my eye," but I said to myself,
Yeah.
"What? This moves me. I feel I have a responsibility to provide for my mother." Because maybe she didn't know what to do financially. Maybe she didn't have the correct strategy to be financially free. Maybe she didn't have that. But one thing she did have was an abundant love, abundant heart. I mean, just a huge heart. And she showed me what love's all about. She loved me unconditionally. She always showed support. And I felt like I had to provide for my sister and for my mother, because it was basically only us three. And at a young age, I felt I had to be responsible for that. So I said, I have I have no time to play games. I don't even have time to contemplate the bad situation. I don't even have time to think about bad things. I just want to get out of this situation, work hard, and make them proud. And one of the biggest things that now I understand is I felt, Yvonne, this is very powerful, what I'm about to say, but I felt, later on in life I learned this, but I felt that everything I did, my motivation was them, but I felt that everything I did for them was my biggest gift to them. But in reality, I realized that the biggest gift was me giving it to myself. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Wow.
I learned that was the biggest thing of me providing for them was just a big teaching to myself. And that was very powerful for me.
I love that you're sharing this because how many people get detoured, and like, I did it for others. I love that you're saying this for three reasons. Number one, there's a lot of people that will tell you, look all that I've done for you. And they enter instead of an abundance mindset that you have. We'll talk about mindset next. And that your mother has. That's really where prosperity resides, is not in the numbers in the bank. It's in the quality of of your heart, of your thoughts, of your givingness in life, for me. But the number one is that you don't hold hostage your mother and sister as if like, look all that I did for you, because that will remove all the progress for you. Number two, you are taking responsibility and realizing No matter what it is that I give to others, that's in truth, I'm giving it to myself. In that moment, there's no victim consciousness. In that moment, there's more empowerment. In that moment, there is true prosperity. And number three, for you to have the capacity to realize that it's a gift you give to yourself, and that all that has gone through to you, for you, and that has happened for you, not to you, in your life, has been the gym of shaping character. I love this so much, Brian, that it has shaped you. It has given you the tools, and it's amazing because I know you to be one of the most driven, committed entrepreneurs that I know, and you consistently speak about adding value and bringing value to the market, helping a mother, your sister, recognizing the good gifts that they've given you. And in a way, I'm going to say something, and maybe you will need tissues or not. I know you to be a real master of your emotions, but in a way, your father living, okay, your father living, when things happen to us that we really did those things, right? This is not something we created, but we are responsible on how we approach those things. But in a way, the teaching that he left you is what not to do. And you are not leaving people. You are not leaving yourself in the process, and you are showing up for thousands of people. I admire that you were able and are able to speak to thousands in an audience. I admire all the people don't know, but you have delivered the opportunities for people to have businesses and get their families not only afloat but become successful. It's incredible. I want to pay tribute to you because it's incredible what you've done so far, and how you have turned how the blessings in life that became struggles, you have earned the right to turn them back into blessings. So, wow, Brian, thanks for sharing that. So, tell us a little bit about the mindset Brayan Garcia has, and how you and I both know that mindset. Without the mindset, it's like your life. It's all over the place. We can have the feeling and the intuition, and I'm a spiritual teacher, but I'm such not the typical spiritual teacher. I'm so practical in my spirituality that some people don't like that because they want me to pamper them. They want me to sage them. They want me to put crystals. But the truth is that there's nothing more spiritual for me than being honest, than having the right mindset to dial into the heart, the mind, everything for the right purpose at the right time. So tell me, what is the mindset of Brayan Garcia? And what have you seen that mindset does in people's businesses, relationships, and life?
Yvonne, I think that having the right mindset is a process, and it's a constant journey of growth. Because a couple of months ago, I made a training that spoke about the 3 different mindsets, and it was just an idea that I kind of figured and created that. I went through those mindsets, right? And it's being aware in what stage of a mindset you are. So I'm going to give you a quick example of the 3 mindsets that I believe as people we go through, right? The first mindset is the mindset of survival. The second mindset is the mindset of progress. And the third mindset is the mindset of abundance. Now, it's being aware in what stage am I? When I started, and I see this a lot in a lot of people, when they're in the mindset of survival, they feel like they're a victim. They feel like the world owes them everything. They basically, instead of focusing on being resourceful, they blame their resources, that they don't have enough, that they don't have this, that they don't have that. They blame everything. And being in the mindset of survival is just basically focusing on stuff that's not really fulfilling. But people are there, and maybe they're stuck there for 40 years of their life because maybe they didn't focus on doing something different. We spoke about the power of, doing basic little habits that will make you achieve a success. I call them atomic habits, right? There's actually a book that speaks about it. Creating these atomic habits, small little habits that will create an impact. It's like creating a ladder so that you can go to the next stage, which is the stage of progress. Now, having a mindset of progress doesn't necessarily mean you've made it, because it's a constant challenge with your mental paradigms reminding you where you come from. People reminding you where you should go back. Now you become, in a certain way, a competition to people that were in the mindset of progress, of just survival. So
Wow.
you're in the mindset of progress, and you're trying to grow. You're trying to see things different. Maybe you start reading books. Maybe you join one of these podcasts. Maybe you start having a more of a spiritual connection. But guess what? You still have something linking you to that mindset of survival. So we will constantly fall back. And if we keep going, we start building these atomic habits, and we start growing, and we start building a ladder. Once we hit an abundant mindset, I think everything changes. I think that's when everybody starts clapping for you and saying, wow, I never thought he made it. Wow, I'm so glad he did. Now, as being at a mindset where you're so abundant that you're here to deliver, that you understand the struggles you went through, so you're willing to go back and say, you know what, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Don't stress it. Don't compare your chapter 1 to my chapter 10. Don't never compare yourself to anybody in general. That's why I believe mindset is so important. Just being aware in where you're at gives you a better perspective in life. And most people, they'll never understand this. Someone that has a mindset of abundance when they're stuck in a mindset of just survival. So I think those three are very key components that I went through, and I see a lot of people go through and are going through. So that's why I think mindset and just lifestyle is a journey, is a constant progress. Tony Robbins says it.
Brian,
Yeah.
you know what? I love what you just shared. I've been taking notes like crazy, I usually do, but I feel, what I'm going to share a little story. When I met Emily Frisella, which is the wife of Andy Frisella, and an incredible entrepreneur, businesswoman, but she's the walking embodiment of core values. I hope to have her in this podcast. I interviewed her for one of my podcasts that I used to have, Shipless Life. Before, but with her, I felt something that I never had felt before. Her compassion and her understanding of people was something that I had read, and I have read in spiritual text. I had seen spiritual people propose, but I had not the experience of a human living those values. And, and she showed me that way. Now with you, I feel the same, because there's compassion in your sharing. There's no punishing people for where they're at. There is no punishing people because they have lack consciousness. There's no telling people, what are you doing there? You are just letting them know that's this level you're at. You can still work and then move to your next level. But what you just said can bring so much peace and relief to people, so they can naturally move forward to the next level, instead of feeling that they are unworthy, instead of feeling that they're doing something wrong. No, that's the stage you are at. You just remove judgment from the whole equation of progress, Brian. In a way, what I'm hearing, you're telling people, that's the level that you are, but that's not the level that you need to even stay in. It takes time. I love that you said you're the first person that I've ever heard saying mindset is a process. And how many people think that, I have to have the mindset of success. Well, it's a process. Like everything good in life, like a good wine, like like a black belt on Kung Fu or karate. It's a process. It's a process. You cannot be black belt in your second class. The black belts will kill you if you go to a competition as a white belt with them, right? So I love that you brought back into entrepreneurship a mindset of compassion, and the compassion enough with your results to tell people, I know you feel maybe in the level of survival, but guess what? I've been there and I moved into the level of progress. That's available for you. I know you are feeling stuck in the level of progress. I have been there, but I know you will be able to move into abundance. And, I know in abundance, you are wondering what to do. That's something we all have to discover now. Brian, I think that what you just said, I hope everyone listening to this podcast is making notes, because these three aspects of the mindset that you came up with based on your experience, I really feel they're going to bring not only a lot of